Okay, quick question for you. Have you ever eaten a genuinely healthy dinner? Chicken, vegetables, the whole clean eating package, and then found yourself standing in front of the fridge 2 hours later at 9 p.m.? Not because you're hungry. You're not. You're stuffed. But something in you just wants a little something. A few crackers, a square of chocolate, just one bite. Yeah, we've all been there. Here's the thing nobody tells you. That moment isn't really about food at all, and it might be quietly wrecking your sleep, your blood sugar, and your body's ability to repair itself overnight. So let's actually talk about what's happening in your body when you eat late, why it's not really about willpower, and what you can do about it that doesn't involve white-knuckling it every single night. Here's what surprises most people. You can eat perfectly clean food. No sugar, no fried stuff, no ultra-processed junk. And you can still be working against your own metabolism every night. Because it's not only about what you eat, it's about when. Your body treats food as more than fuel. Every time you eat, you're sending your body a message. It's daytime. Stay alert. Store some of this for later. That's a totally normal, useful signal in the middle of the day. But at night, your body isn't looking for that message anymore. At night, it wants to shift into repair mode. It wants to clean house. And when you eat late, especially anything with carbs or sugar in it, you're basically sending a stay awake and alert text to a system that's trying to wind down. It's like calling someone at 2 a.m. to ask if they're free to chat. Technically, they will answer. Doesn't mean it was a good idea. So what exactly happens during that repair window? There's a process researchers call autophagy. Think of it as your cells running their own overnight cleanup crew, clearing out old, damaged parts and recycling them. Now, I want to be upfront with you here, because a lot of people oversimplify this. Most of the strongest evidence for autophagy comes from animal studies. Mice, fruit flies, that kind of thing. Measuring it directly in humans is genuinely hard, and researchers are still working that out. But the mechanism itself, low insulin allowing this cleanup process to ramp up, is well established in the science. And a few recent human studies have started picking up signs of it too. What we do know clearly is this. That cleanup process depends heavily on one hormone being low, insulin. And every time you eat, especially anything with carbs, your insulin goes up, which means every late snack is basically hitting pause on that whole cleanup shift before it can finish the job. And this connects to something bigger than just digestion. This has to do with how well your cells hold up over time. A lot of chronic health issues, we're talking blood sugar problems, inflammation, general fatigue, get linked back to cells that aren't functioning the way they should, especially your mitochondria, which are basically your cell's power plants. Now, I'm not going to tell you late-night snacking is the single cause of chronic disease. That would be an overstatement. But giving your body consistent, uninterrupted repair time overnight is one of the more overlooked pieces of the puzzle. And here's something that actually has decent research behind it. Studies comparing people who finish eating earlier in the day, probably before 7 p.m., versus later, even with the same total calories, tend to show better blood sugar control and less visceral fat, that stubborn belly fat, in the early eating group. So it's not just an old wives' tale. There's something real here. Let's talk about the sleep piece too, because this one hits close to home for a lot of people. Melatonin is the hormone that helps signal to your brain, hey, it's time to wind down. And digesting a big meal is, frankly, not a winding down activity. Your body's diverting blood flow and energy toward breaking down food instead of shifting into sleep mode. So if you've ever eaten a heavy meal late and then laid in bed feeling weirdly wired or bloated or just off, that's not random. That's your digestive system and your sleep system fighting for the same resources at the same time. And honestly, you know that feeling the next morning when you wake up groggy, even though you technically slept 8 hours? Yeah, that grogginess has a lot more to do with when you ate than most people realize. That can be so much exhausting. You might not be aware about yourself on this. However, if you are watching this video now, you have the information. The thing is, oftentimes we all hear good information about ways to improve our lives, but the next 10 minutes we walk out, boom, everything just vanishes off out of our head because everyone got a lot of things going on. And so we end up repeating the same cycle that causes a decline in our health. If you don't want to be like that one person, then kindly click on the subscribe button right now and turn on the notification bell to always be reminded about our breakdown of healthier information like this. Okay, back to it. So here's where it gets interesting. Poor sleep and disrupted repair don't just stay contained to that one night. They ripple into the next day. When your sleep is broken up, your cortisol, your main stress hormone, tends to run higher than it should the next day. And cortisol has a direct relationship with blood sugar. Higher cortisol tends to push your blood sugar around more, which can leave you craving quick energy. Sugar, refined carbs, that kind of thing. So that 9 p.m. snack doesn't just cost you sleep. It can quietly set up tomorrow's cravings too. It's a domino, not an isolated event. You know what I mean? Here's the part that actually changed how I think about this whole topic. That urge to snack after dinner, for most people, it has almost nothing to do with hunger. It's dopamine. Dopamine is the neurotransmitter tied to reward and anticipation, and it gets triggered by stress, boredom, or just habit, the same way your brain lights up scrolling your phone right before bed. Notice something too. When people get hit with that after-dinner craving, they're almost never craving grilled chicken or a plate of vegetables. It's sweet, salty, crunchy, chips, chocolate, ice cream. That's a dopamine craving talking, not an actual energy deficit hunger signal. And look, that's not a character flaw. That's just how the reward system in your brain works. Food companies actually engineer products around exactly this response. So if you've been beating yourself up over this, please stop. It's biology working exactly the way it's designed to. The fix isn't more willpower. It's changing the setup around you. So let's get into what actually works. And I'll be honest with you up front, some of this requires a real decision, not just a vague intention. Step 1. Get the trigger snacks out of easy reach. I'm not saying throw away every joy in your life. I'm saying if chips or cookies are sitting at eye level in your pantry, you are relying on willpower against a product that was engineered to beat willpower. That's not a fair fight. If other people in your house won't go along with a full clear out, that's fine. Put those items in opaque containers, up on a high shelf, or somewhere with a few extra steps between you and them. Adding friction works. Even 10 extra seconds of effort is often enough to break the automatic reach. And no, you don't need a fancy branded supplement stack to make this work. This is about the environment around you, not a product you have to buy. Next one's simple and honestly kind of fun. Give your body a clear, "we're done here" signal after dinner. Turn the kitchen lights off. Some people literally put up a little sign. Kitchen is closed. It sounds silly, but rituals work because your brain loves clear boundaries. Brushing your teeth right after dinner is another one that works surprisingly well. There's actually some research suggesting mint flavor makes food taste worse right after, which naturally kills the appetite for a snack. Simple, but effective. And keep food out of visual range. If there is a candy bowl on the counter or nuts sitting out by the couch, you are going to eat some. Not because you are hungry, but because it's right there. Visibility drives consumption more than most people give it credit for. Put it away, out of sight, and you will be shocked how much that urge quiets down on its own. Here is one people skip, but it matters more than almost anything else on this list. The battle isn't really fought at 9 p.m. It is fought at the grocery store, days earlier. Shop with a list. Stick mostly to the perimeter of the store. Produce, proteins, dairy, where the whole foods usually live. The center aisles are where most of the engineered, hard-to-resist stuff sits. And here's an uncomfortable truth. A lot of people believe they have total freedom of choice standing in that aisle. You don't. Not really. Most late-night junk food, whatever the brand or flavor, comes back to the same small handful of engineered ingredients. Heavy on refined sugar, refined starch, and cheap processed oils. Built specifically to make you want more. So the real fix isn't fighting temptation at 9 p.m. It's simply not bringing the temptation home in the first place. Here's what you get if you actually give your body that clean stretch after dinner. Water and tea are totally fine, just no food. Better sleep, steadier blood sugar the next morning, less bloating, and you're giving your body the uninterrupted repair time it's been asking for the whole time. This isn't about perfection, and it's definitely not about never enjoying food again. It's about giving your body a real, clear stop sign at the end of the day instead of a slow fade into snacking. There you have it. This ends the video. If this helped you understand your own cravings a little better, do us a little favor and hit that subscribe button before you head out. It helps us keep making videos like this. One life, very wealthy when healthy.